All right, enough's enough. If every summer you say you're getting your summer body and you never do it, I want to call you out and I want to get you your dream summer body once and for all. Picture yourself walking down that beach, everyone's staring, you're impressed, you put in the work, you're proud of where you're at, you're feeling fit, healthy, and happy. I want to make this happen for you, and there is no better time because my Summer Shred Challenge is starting next month, starting May 5th. So don't miss out on this because we're going to do some big things. I'm going to coach you through this. We're going to have criteria to elevate your thinking, your action, and your ability in your fitness, health, and happiness. So if you want your guaranteed results and you've thought about this for a while, this is your perfect chance to get started. If you want to learn more about what it's all about, why it's going to be amazing, and why once and for all I'm finally going to get you your dream summer body, hit me up on Instagram and just say Summer Shred. DM me that. I'm going to know exactly what you're talking about. Let me take care of the rest and give you all the steps you need, the instruction and the accountability to see success once and for all. Once again, DM me Summer Shred to my Instagram at ColossusFit. Now into the episode. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
And I have an incredible episode planned for you today. I'm talking about 7 mindset shifts to live a fitter, healthier, and happier life. And I called myself out recently. I was like, I need to really elevate my opportunity of learning because it's easy to say I've done things for so long. I've read over hundreds of books and all these different things, like what else is out there? And I'm like, I really need to put an end to that. So I've really doubled, if not tripled, my reading. I've doubled my podcasts. I'm really just making a point to soak up everything like a sponge, have extra action, extra production, so I too can continue to live even a fitter, healthier, and happier life. And that's what really inspired this episode. And a lot of these were inspired from things I've learned recently, as well as things I have been executing to see amazing change in my life. So once again, take all this amazing advice that I've worked hard to find, implement it, see amazing change, and let's jump into my first tip. And this one, more than ever, I've realized is probably the most important of everything. And I know this is harder for some than others, but we're going to get into it. And that is that environment equals success. And I've noticed this just amazingly because even certain gyms I go to where people are really fit, I notice everyone's pretty fit in that gym. And I think your mind naturally just stretches to like, ooh, I need to do a little bit more. Whereas when you're with people and the standard's so low, it doesn't really inspire you to do more. But if you've ever had that experience where you're like a small fish in a big pond, it's very motivating. And one example that's always stuck with me, and one thing I've always believed, and I remember my dad saying it about hockey, was when you play with worse people, it's amazing. You just get worse. It's crazy. You really start to devolve down to that level. And I've noticed that with myself. But when I played with people that are way faster and better than me, it's amazing how much better you get. And I've seen people play with people at their level that aren't doing very well and there isn't much progression. I've seen new players, even one of my buddies, I remember he could hardly skate. He was just didn't have much going on there. And he started playing at a pretty high level. And it's amazing to see his progression. I just think it's so motivating. So I think you may need to ask yourself, like, who are you spending your time with? Like, are you spending your time with people who are aspiring to be fitter, healthier, and happier, or who are complaining and saying why they could never do that? Because life wants to hijack your brain. It wants you to say you're going old, you can't do it, it's not possible, you have hard circumstances, and you just want to seep in that sorrow. Whereas when you're listening to people that are saying you can do it, you have no limits, challenge yourself, move forward, see progression, people that are really inspiring you and building you up, it's just absolutely amazing. And I've said it recently, but I really do truly believe it. You can't become an eagle hanging around with turkeys. So you need to evaluate this. And I'm not saying that you can't ever be around people that aren't immensely successful or crushing it. But like if the people you train with, for instance, are texting the whole time, skipping half their workout, they're being like, oh, I can skip half this workout, I don't need to do it. They're doing light weights, talking to you while you train. Like that isn't really going to push you forward. Whereas if you start training with someone who's way fitter than you, way stronger, it's the most humbling and motivating thing ever because it really makes you realize what you're capable of. And I was even listening to a fitness podcast recently with the Iced Coffee Hour with Graham Stephan, and Jesse James West was on it. And they were asking him, like, how do you know how to train to failure, or what you're capable of? Because he had suggested that you won't really see results until you kind of find that threshold and you start to learn what your body's capable of. And his advice just resonated with me because I remember going back to that. And that's training with someone who kind of breaks your brain as to what's possible. And it's amazingly humbling. Like even my wife, since having a baby, she's done powerlifting comp. She's been in the gym forever. She's super strong, all these good things. The gym the other day, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do stiff leg deads with the plate, just doing high rep, really working out the hamstrings. I'm like, and I want you to deadlift this. And then she goes to do it and she goes to pull it and she's like, I can't. Like, there's no way, Josh. It's way too heavy. And I'm like, come on now. It's funny. Obviously, we have a relationship where we can do this. And then she did it for 8 reps. And I was like, come on, Olivia. Like, and that is just such an example, though. Like, her brain almost said, hey, you can't do a plate. You just had a baby and she's cleared. She's healthy. She's been lifting. So it's not like I'm pushing her where she shouldn't be pushed. But she even realized, she's like, okay, thank you for that push. I realize I can do that. And consider she'd probably be doing half that weight if she didn't have that brain breaking moment where you start to go, oh my gosh, I'm actually so much stronger. And it's really cool because in our training, people come in, they'll tell me the weights they'll use, and I'll be like, come on, let's double that. And they're hitting the reps still, and I'm like, let's add a little bit more. And you realize how much you're selling yourself short. And this doesn't just apply to the gym. It's like, can you do that much more nutritionally? Can you learn more? Can you have bigger aspirations? Can you set bigger goals? And it's really motivating when you start to find these things. So if you don't have the environment of people directly around you, you can hire a coach. We have a coaching community. You can work directly with me and Kyle, who you know are going to push you and help you towards your goal with a loving hand. You can listen to motivational audiobooks and books. Whenever I listen to these things, I'm like, why am I not doing this more? The opposite, you can spend your time just looking at drama and news and gossip, and just going to make you feel worse, and it's going to demotivate you or why everything's wrong. But the more you can elevate yourself and the more you can change your environment, and like I said, hopefully you have people that you can be around to do that. And you'd be amazed if you know someone who's really fit that's in your friend group or something. If you ever said, hey, like, would you ever mind like training with me one day? Like, I'd love just to work out with you one time. Like, you're super fit. Like, if someone ever asked me that, I don't think I'd ever say no, because like that's just a really nice way to put it. And I find even for me, it's motivating when new people come in and they're really giving it their all. It makes me want to elevate even more. So I would challenge you to do that. If you have absolutely no one, like I said, listen to more books. Even Kobe himself said everything he ever consumed was to be a better basketball player. So we'd listen to books, movies, speeches, whatever it is. So whatever you're looking to achieve, make sure you're in an environment that's actually nurturing to it and that isn't draining or just detrimental to what you're trying to achieve.
Honestly, that fired me up. I feel like we could just mic drop end this here, and this should change the game as long as you take action on it. So that was very well said. It's something I'm always thinking about. And Josh is my cheat code in the gym because, you know, he's always breaking my brain there. He's like, all right, you know, single leg press, this many plates. I'm like, oh, it's not easy, but you know, we're always trying new things. We're trying to just push that next level. So it's always nice to have. But I even think, like, on the topic of, you know, Josh's early start to this promo, like the summer shred challenge is gonna be awesome because we're gonna break your brain in different ways. We're gonna have weekly live calls. There's gonna be different recipes and different things we're gonna be all doing that, even ourselves, but also our community. Like, our community is built up with some really fit people, some amazing people who have lost over hundreds of pounds and thousands total, who are gonna be breaking your brain as well. So you need that. You need that person by your side. You need that group by your side. So we can't wait to have you join us for this challenge. I promise you it'll be the greatest thing you ever do for yourself. But number 2 is just whatever you focus on grows. And I like this thought because, like, there's so many people who focus on the wrong things and the wrong thing grows. So using the example of, you know, the news or different things going on in the world or whatever the case is, the more you spend time on that, and hey, don't get me wrong, I love sports. I like to pay attention to it. I do enjoy it. But if like all you're focused on is like things that are not exactly like, you know, part of your life, like, you know, your goals and your fitness aspirations and your relationships and everything you're striving for, and you're only focused on that other stuff, that's all that's going to grow is like your knowledge base towards what's going on in different parts of, you know, life that may not be helping you out. So I think it's really important to just like focus on and measure the focus of different parts of, you know, areas that you can grow on. And this is a good reminder that Josh brought up, because even myself, I feel like I can do even a better job focusing more on the growth side of things, doing more biographies, doing more things of like people who really crush it. And I truly believe that the more that I do it, and every single person here, like, you just think different. Like, your mindset is absolutely insane. Like, when you read a book, and I started reading one recently, it's by Hal Elrod, and he basically should have died a few times, and he wrote the book Miracle Morning as well. So when I started to read about what he went through, like dealing with cancer, getting into an accident, dealing with all these things, and I'm just like, holy, like, this guy's like unstoppable. It's insane. And you start to think about what these other people have done. Like, it makes every part of your life like in a way easier. You just start to think like, man, I can do this. Like I should be doing this. Like I should be showing up for myself. So whatever you focus on grows.
Yeah, and if you're tracking and you're measuring that, you'll see 10 times more growth as well, because we like to defer to giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, I'm probably looking super good. And I overheard someone at the gym recently, he's like, when I do everything right, a couple days later and I go on the scale, I'm the same or worse. I don't get it. And it's like, we're naturally going to kind of give ourselves the benefit of that edge and be like, oh, it's fine. And even for me, like if I don't track my food for when I eat, I'll be like, oh, I definitely had a little bit too much, or I thought I could have this extra portion, but I couldn't. And I've been doing this 10 plus years. So it's really important you measure everything the best you can. And it's also a good reminder too, like you can allow some degree of focus. You don't need to be like ignorant to things. Like if you're really invested in the political climate right now or what's going on in the world, like allocate time to it, right? You don't need to be thinking about that all day and be in pain and stress and sorrow from what's happening the entire day. Like say, I'm going to do 15 minutes of research. I want to be educated, leave it there, and then spend the necessary time for the gym and put things in buckets, and also allow yourself to have fun. Like I wouldn't say reels are ever a net benefit to me, but I find them funny. They're silly, I guess. I can laugh. So I set that bucket 15 minutes. I try to enjoy it once a week. It's been more like twice or 3 times a week lately, but that's something I just need to tighten on. And obviously the more you start to normalize that, one of my favorite things is just people with their phones, even being in Florida, just the amount of people driving, watching reels. The second you're in an elevator, people just whip out their phones to Instagram or whatever. And I've really been making a conscious effort to not do that, because whatever becomes commonplace is what we accept. And just the same, if you're focusing on development, becoming fitter, becoming happier, becoming more balanced, it's amazing how nurturing and how much growth that can come from that. So that was so well said by Kyle. My next tip is to know that you are an athlete. And you might say, I'm not an athlete, horribly coordinated, never played sports, or I used to and now I'm washed. But trust me, you are an athlete. You got a body that's capable of amazing, amazing feats, and you can do massive things. And whether you're a super fit athlete or maybe you're a little bit out of season is hard to say. But nonetheless, the more you can have a team around you, the better. So even for me, naturally, when I dislocated my shoulder, I didn't just try to figure it out all myself. I'm very lucky that I have a good network of like physiotherapists that I was able to refer to and kind of pick their brains. I went into physio and I paid a professional to help accelerate that growth, to make sure I was on that right track. I have access to the best mentors and coaches in the world, and I do that through motivational videos. I can get training from Chris Bumstead's trainer. I can get training from all these amazing minds from these books, and it's just a great reminder. The more you treat your body like you are an athlete, and the more you build out that team for recovery, for growth, for fitness, for challenge, it's very motivating, and it actually just makes it so much easier to do. And like Kyle said, you can easily crutch off of other people. If you're like struggling to get in good sessions, you can train with someone. Or if you're super slack with your running and you have a running buddy who kills it, and you say, hey, what days are we running this week? I'll meet you there. I'm going to owe you dinner. That's going to hold you to doing it, right? And you know that person's going to push you and make you see it through it. So just change that mindset to seeing yourself as an athlete, make that investment, have that team around you, because that's what's going to hold you to it. And health is wealth. You don't want to later in life be regretting what you did and needing to spend thousands and thousands on medical bills. And that's where having a coach is so amazing. Like having a fitness coach, if you've never had one, you are severely missing out, because the amount of knowledge you'll learn from coming into our program even once is just like, I can't even convey how much it is, because you're going to get a lot of belief breaking. You're going to realize you're capable of more. You're going to do more. You're going to see more. You're going to stop doing things that are wasting your time. You're going to understand how hard you can train. You're going to understand how things maybe you thought you couldn't do, you can indeed fit into your schedule. So that's a big one, something I was happy to share.
Yeah, very well said. And number 4 is just impossible is nothing to someone who tries. Josh said this to me this morning. I was like, dang, I really, really like that, because I think it's easy to think that a lot of things that we're looking to try to accomplish are just impossible. We could never do it. It's just such a bad mindset to have. But the truth is that if you give it your best shot, and even if you do happen to fail at something, like it's not impossible. Like there is opportunities to accomplish it. But even the fact is that you showed up for yourself, you tried, you put your best foot forward. That's what really matters. And I think a lot of people get scared of truthfully failing. And I sometimes have to second guess myself here and there, where I'm just like, it's not even in the ballpark of what I can do. But then it's like, you know what? Like it is possible. Like you do have what it takes. It's just, you got to give it a shot and at least try, right? So that's something important to remember. And that's going to be number 4.
Next is to do hard things. So I love this quote. So make sure you're listening up here. Do what's easy. Life will be hard. do what's hard, life will be easy. And I believe this so much. When you do the hard thing and you wake up on time, you do the hard thing, you go to the gym, you do the hard thing and make a healthy breakfast, you're going to feel good. That's a great start today. I do the easy thing. I sleep in. I've stayed up late. I'm like, I'll figure out something to eat. Go to McDonald's. I eat 1,500 calories of garbage. Then I'm like, I don't want to do any work today. And then just don't go to work. Like, that's not a good life. You think you want that, but right away you're probably, oh yeah, no, I'd rather the first thing. And like, there's no better feeling too than embracing what's hard in that sense. And it's amazing how it actually makes life easier when you embrace those hard things and actually acknowledging that doing some hard things is good for you and it feels actually good. And actually just reframing to what makes me feel better, what is better for me as a person. When you start thinking like that, it makes it a lot more motivating to actually make good decisions. So that was my next tip.
Amazing. And number 6 is just simply having positive affirmation. So this is incredible because you can really reshape your mind just from saying positive things. And this will look different for each person. Like, I think sometimes when people hear affirmations, they think it's like you're sitting and looking at yourself in the mirror and like repeating back like all these mantras and phrases and all this other stuff. But we subconsciously do a lot of this throughout the day between Josh, myself, our buddies and whatnot as well. And even like all it takes is just like a simple, act of like, hey, today's going to be a great day. When someone interacts with you, they ask how you're doing, you say, amazing, couldn't be better. There's one guy that I follow and I listen to his podcast, and when they ask him, how he's doing, they said that they know his response will always be the exact same, and it's always the best day of my life. And I think it's great because like you see so many people, and this kind of ties into the negative environment and not being around the right people, but it's just like, it's always like, they're down on themselves. They're always like talking negatively. Like, it's even crazy. I don't remember the exact number, but the amount of negative thoughts within the day, it's somewhere in the 1,000 range or at least 100 range, which is crazy. And I think that's just so common for people. Whereas if you constantly say different things, such as like, you wake up, yeah, I might be a bit tired. Like, no, I'm fresh. And Josh has some notes here. And I think it's funny because even, there'd be times where I'm like, oh man, I'm so dead here. Like, I'm so tired. Like, it's too easy. Like, and we kind of just like, will find ways to just like boost up and be like, no, I can do more. I got what it takes. And, I think that's a big part of just like having a positive mindset and like overall just like a great mental space, I guess you could say, is just like having the right phrasing when you're interacting with people, when you're even maybe if you're feeling down and out, like it's still important to still think positively and use words that are in the positive space that can bring you back into that spot. So yeah, I'm sure Josh has more on that one as well.
Yeah, I know, like Kyle said, it's easy to think woo-woo and manifestation and whatnot. And I don't get too deep with any of this, but I do think in general, even psychology shows and science shows the power of just our thoughts and how they impact us. So even for me, when I journal every day, I say today will be a good day. And if you say that to yourself right now, you'll probably feel pretty good. I've said this before. And if I say today is going to suck, it's going to be so hard, oh, I have to do this. Like, I'm already bringing myself down like 5 levels and I'm setting myself up for failure. And it's funny, you can almost trick yourself. If every time it says, how you doing? You say, I'm doing amazing. It is a beautiful day. Like, and you don't even have to be fake about it. But even if you say I'm doing amazing, like you start to feel good and you start to believe that. And it's funny, even in training, like me and my friends will always joke, too easy or this lightweight or whatever it is. And we'll say these things that perhaps aren't true. And it was funny. My one friend did like the heaviest squat of his life. He was so ready, almost popped. And he stood up and he said, too easy or something or like whatever. And then my friend was like, no, it was RIR 10, which is like the max weight he could do. And it was so funny and he loved it. But even in his mind, he's probably thinking, I got this, I got this, I got this. Like even that terminology could help him through that rep, as crazy as that sounds. And like one cheat code I love too, when I have a hard time, like making a decision or saying no to something, I'll just say to myself, I make good decisions, or I'm a fit person, or like whatever it may be. Even I make good decisions. Like try that next time you're in a tough decision. And I swear it makes it so much easier to make that good decision because you just have that personal belief. So this is a small one, but you'd be amazed if you can start to reframe things instead of like I have to I get to, or I have the opportunity, or this challenge is an opportunity for me to, versus like this sucks, I have this horrible thing happening. So just something to think about, really internalize how you're thinking, what you're saying, and it's a big one. And then I just wanted to end this episode by doing a little thought exercise, and I want you to ask yourself, what is a fit, healthy, and happy life to you? And if you want to pause it, if you want to journal, if you want to write it down to analyze it later, that's totally up to you. But I think this is a great question because we all have different ideas. Perhaps you might be 70 and you'd be like, I'd love to be able to ride my bike again. Like, that's what made me happy. That's what I want to get back to. Like, ask yourself what you need to do to build the strength to get to that and create a plan to make that happen. Maybe it's you just becoming in better shape as your kids get older, whatever it is. And once you find out what that is to you, ask yourself, why not me? And you might quickly say, I work too many hours, my kids are too demanding, I'm not sleeping right. You're going to start to come up with all these excuses. Then list out those excuses and look for solutions. And if you're like, okay, I work too much, but I do have a break at work, I could actually go to the gym in that time and I'm allowed to eat at my desk. So why not do that? And like, you can start to find solutions, and everyone's different. We all have roadblocks, but you just got to find your way through them. And I find asking that question, why not me, is really powerful because it's very easy to say naturally, like the excuses you have. But when you start to think, why not me? And you start to look at it creatively and you start to take those small steps, that is how you actually see amazing progress to becoming a really fit, healthy, and happy person. So those are 7 things on my mind and big mindset shifts for you potentially in your life. Even if you implement just one of these, I assure you will see big change. If this episode inspired you and you're feeling like you could run through a wall, you're feeling motivated, you're feeling good, I really do ask that you could share it to any one of your socials, whatever it is you use. If you're a LinkedIn person, that'd mean a lot. I know I hear LinkedIn's bumping these days. I don't have it anymore because the emails drove me nuts. But Instagram, MySpace, whatever you want, Club Penguin, we'd love if you could take the time to actually just share this episode so more people can see it. Even if you only have a couple followers, it's a great opportunity for others to learn how they can live a fitter, healthier, and happier life. And once again, I don't want you to miss out on my Summer Shred Challenge. Let's see change once and for all together. Build that beach body. Hit me up on Instagram saying Summer Shred, and we will make that happen. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.